Alright guys, so today we are going to make a recap of the past week. We had a very bullish week from 13th of April till 17th of April. Going to make a quick recap. So first we start on the weekly. What my target was for this week was this swing high. This was my target. We already took out many liquidity right here and I was targeting this high. Okay, and what did we have on the daily? On the daily we had this bullish gap going higher right here. So my target was this weekly swing high, and we go right here. Monday we open and we go down immediately. We tap into the daily gap right there, and yeah, let's go into 1 hour. We had this big opening gap which we just disrespect. Let's see right here. So what can we see? We can see right here we swept these lows as well. We came into the daily fair value gap, and what did we do? We respected this fair value gap and we pushed higher. Let's see right here. Here we had the open and I was watching price right here. We tapped into this 50-minute right there. We had that swing low. We tapped into it, as we can see, and we created a new gap going higher. So what was holding us back? Nothing was holding us back from hitting these targets right there. So what did the 15-minute do? We tapped into this gap right here. 15-minute, you can see right here. I actually wanted to enter this trade, but I'll show you guys why I didn't. So let's go on the 15 seconds. So we had this 15-minute gap right there. We sweep these lows, as we can see, and we break up higher right there. We break up higher, we can see we break up higher, but the thing was we had a 5-minute gap, this one. So we had this 5-minute gap, so I didn't immediately want to enter, so I just waited, and I waited for price to break this high. That was my idea. I wanted to wait for price to break this high. But what happened, we got this big ass wick right here, and yeah, when I see this I immediately thought I'm not going to enter, because come on, when do you see price action like this? And like even on the 1 minute you can see it's just a big wick going down, and I didn't like that, so I didn't enter. But eventually it played out right here, as we can see. My entry would have been something like this. Once we break this high, and then it would have been below this low, but yeah, I just never entered, and otherwise my stop loss would have been here and my target would have been like right there, which was just too much for me. I mean, eventually we did, let's see, 5 minutes. Eventually we did hit the target, as we can see right here. Price moved slow, but yeah, we hit target. Didn't take the trade, which is fine. So targets got hit right there, and we also created this 15-minute gap right here. 1 hour, sorry. Also created this 1 hour right here, and I only trade the New York Open, so we'll be only looking at the New York Open. Okay, so here we're just consolidating. Then New York pushes up higher, 7. So here we already reach our weekly target, and when you hit a target like this on the weekly time frame, you don't want to go look for an entry on the 50-minute, because we already reached a major target. When we reach a weekly target, we usually want to chill off, because we already reached the target of the week. So then you don't want to take an entry from the 15-minute, because most of the times it will just fail. Right here at the open we can see we tapped into this 1 hour. It's a very tiny gap, but we tapped into this 1 hour gap right there, and also sweeping these lows. And what do? We break above this. And what do? We break above this rejection high right here. And what do? We create a 50-minute gap, as we can see. And I also did not trade or take a trade here. It's a very nice price action, but we already reached the weekly target, and I just wanted to be safe And right here we can see we sweep this sell side. We see we come in here, we come into the gap. Initially I want to see this low being swept as well, or this one would have been nicer, which we also didn't get. So we come in here, sweep this low, and we came in here, rejected and broke. Then the entry could have been right here. Stop loss at this low, can be at the body as well, and targeting 1 to 2, and right here it was a take profit. I also did not take this trade. Why? We already reached our weekly target right here, and then you don't really want to look for a 50-minute entry. But as we see right here, it played out very nice. And this was on Tuesday. So we tapped into this gap as well. And what did we do? 50-minute gap. We tap into the gap and we just expand higher. As we see right here, tap in and go. I only trade the AM session mostly. And this was after the session. So I also did not take that trade. Okay, so here we continue to, what day is it right here? To Wednesday. So we go on the 4-hour. What do we see? We have this 4-hour gap right there. Let me see, 4-hour gap, which we already tapped in. So we had this 4-hour gap and we already tapped in and rejected from it. But right here we can see we sweep this high, and we had this high as well, which we also swept. So we had these liquidity right here above, which we were, so we still have these highs right here. I mean, we were rejecting it 2 times. So okay, so we had this liquidity above and we already tapped into this 4-hour gap right here. We had this low, which we taken out right here. Then we went up, rejected from this right here and this liquidity right there. What did we do? We came up, rejected with a big wick, as we can see right here, big wick. Came down, came up again. We rejected from this low. And what happens right here? We create a 50-minute gap. And what do? This was at 9 p.m. 9 a.m. And what do? We open 9:30. So what I wanted to see, my idea for the day. So we took this out. We took this liquidity out right here. I want to see price sweep out these lows and then disrespect whatever we had here to then continue up higher. Instead, what happened was we just rejected up higher. So first we sweep this, as we can see right here with this wick. We sweep it, then we get a big candle going up, and so we didn't have a wick at the bottom. Then what happened? There wasn't really an entry, honestly. We just expand up higher, going towards this swing high, because we already run through that one. So these were the targets, and already respecting from the 4-hour. On the 1-hour we just have gaps going higher. Now here also no gaps, one breakaway gap. Then your last option would be the 5-minute, but I don't take entries from the 5-minute. So yeah, right here we just expand up higher, and then eventually right here at 11:30 we make a retracement in this tiny gap. But if anyone took a trade right here, GG's, because this was just not tradable. And that's okay. You can't trade every day, which is fine. If you can't get an entry, even though if you know the direction, you can't get an entry every day, which is fine. And yeah, we just expand up higher. As we see here, we get a tap back into the 1-hour, which was nice. I did not take this trade because it was outside of the AM session. As we see, it's 12 a.m. 12, yeah, at 1 we get a tap in. We disrespect this 15-minute right here, 50-minute, and we just expand up higher. Very nice price action, but I just didn't trade it, which is fine. This price action is like very rare. You won't see this every time, because when do you see price only move up like this? Especially when you had this, like whatever this consolidation was, you can't like expect price to move like this. I wasn't expecting price to move like this, and that's why I really didn't play into these trade ideas. And Yeah, let's go to Thursday. Okay, Thursday. So this is at 9:15. That's when I usually do my analysis. So on the daily, it was just breakaway gaps, as we can see right here. It's just gaps going up higher, so we can't really expect a retracement into that. So let's see, on the 4 hour, we have this gap where we already tapped into, so we already offered fair value. So we go down one time frame. What do we see right here? We sweep this low, and what do we have? We have this swing high, these liquidity points above, and we swept this high already right here. Okay, so we came down right here, as we can see, and we already created a 1 hour gap, and we initially reject from it right here. This was at 8. Oh, let's go to the 15. Okay, so right here, this is 9:15. What happens? We come up here higher. So initially I thought we were just going to run these highs and enter from a retracement to then target that high. But instead, what happened? We dropped lower, as we can see right here, into this 1 hour swing low. And we close with a body. On the 50-minute, we have nothing to go lower from. On the 5-minute, we had this gap, but again, I don't trade 5 minutes. And we were bullish, so I'm not even really looking for shorts. And what do we do right here? We disrespect this 5-minute gap right here. And what does price do? We come into this 5-minute gap. Initially, we were disrespecting it, as we can see right here. But what did price do? Price swept that low, and then it continued up higher. First, we sweep this low, and then we tap into this small 5-minute gap right here, and we continue up higher. So now when you see this and you say you can long from here, I mean, you're kind of right. You're not wrong. You could go long here. Why? Because we disrespected everything we had on the left, and we respected this 5-minute gap, created a new 5-minute gap, and we broke above this high. So what is holding us back from going to this high? As we can see, nothing is holding us back. And what did price do? Price created this was the 5-minute gap? Small 5-minute gap right here. I wouldn't really count it as a 5-minute, but small 5-minute gap, tapped into it and just expanded up higher, as we can see. On the 50-minute, there was this breakaway gap, couldn't really have played on it. And this was already 11 a.m. and that's when I'm done. I'm not taking trades anymore. And price just expands higher, as we can see. Here we create this gap after we tapped into this, and we swept this high. So this, I wouldn't really play on these gaps. I don't really like them. But we tapped in and just expanded higher. As we can see, just expanded up higher. You didn't even had like a real trade entry right there. And then we were almost approaching these swing highs right here, as we can see, and price just rejected. No trade again for me on Thursday. I had no trades. Oh, we're going too fast. 9. So we broke above this. What time is it? 7. We broke above this weekly swing high that we had marked right there, and we saw price just pumped up. And I was already looking at price right here. We respected this 1 hour gap, and on the 4 hour we didn't really have anything. And then during London, this was during London, I was at the charts looking exactly at this trade, and I even had shared it on the Discord, but again, I didn't take it. I said it was a nice trade, but it's just not inside of my plan. And this was a 1 hour gap, and price just rejected really nice from it, as we see right here. Nothing was holding us back from going higher. We tapped in, swept these lows right here, and just rejected up higher nicely to the target. But now let's go to the, what time is it? To the 9:30 open. So right here, 9:30 open, what do? We create a big gap going up higher, and we had this as our target, since this target was already taken. So we had this 15-minute gap right here, and what was holding us back from going higher, it's this 5-minute gap. So what happened, price didn't really tap that, and ES did take this low right here. Then what happened, we tapped into the 5-minute gap and we didn't really reject from it, and as we see right here, we go up higher. And what happened, we created this 15-minute gap right here. Wait, let's finish this. Okay, we created this 15-minute gap. So we respected this 15-minute gap right here. Then what did we do? We created this 15-minute gap. And the reason why this isn't really the best trade of the week is because the target was clear, we had a clear entry, but we can see these wicks right here. This made it a little bit questionable for me, but I watched it on the lower time frame right here. So we came into the 15-minute gap, we sweep this low. We did not sweep this low, but we did sweep a low, which was enough for me. And what I wanted to see, I wanted to see us break above this right there. And what did price do? I was on the 15 seconds. Here we took this low. We came into the gap right here. Price rejected from it. Then we came back. Price took this low out right here. We rejected up higher, and I wanted to see a break above this. So price came in, rejected lower, and when we broke this, that's exactly when I took my entry. And I put my stop loss at this wick right here, and I targeted a 1 to 2. It was something, yeah, it was right here. I think this isn't right. And I just let it play out. I just let it play out like this. Price rejected up higher. And I think, yeah, right here was take profit, this candle. And that was take profit. It was a little bit outside of my target, which was this high. But when we took out this high, I was already at break even, which I learned from, by the way. I'm not putting break even anymore. That's what I've seen from my data. So I just let that run, even though I put it break even. And yeah, that was my trade of the week. Didn't catch any other trades. And this was the end of the AM session as well. Yeah. Overall, very nice week, not gonna lie, very nice week. A lot of opportunities. I didn't really catch all of the opportunities, but I think I waited for the right moment and I executed when price was clearer, because we had enough confirmation. We had a nice 15-minute right there, and we created another 15-minute gap. So yeah, this had a little bit more confirmation, which is, I think that's also the right thing to ask from price, especially after we already took out a weekly high. So let me know if you guys took any trades this week, and yeah, let me know what you guys think of these types of videos, if I should make more of these or not. Let me know in the comments, and make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and yeah, thanks for watching.